Good morning, dear friend. The sky is still painted in soft grays, and the first breath of dawn whispers through the trees. There is something sacred about this hour, when the world has not fully awakened, but the soul begins to stir. In the stillness of early morning, before the noise returns, there is space for reflection, space for healing, space for something eternal to touch the fragile parts of us. This is not just the beginning of another day. It is the beginning of another chance to realign your heart with what truly matters. Perhaps, like many, you woke up carrying something heavy. Maybe it was a restless night, filled with thoughts you could not silence. Perhaps there is a fear that refuses to leave. Or maybe you have experienced a loss of a person, of direction, or of yourself somewhere along the way. You smile at the world, but deep inside, you feel misplaced. You function well enough, but your spirit is weary. No one sees the quiet ache you carry in your chest. No one notices how close you are to letting go of hope. I once knew someone who lived with that ache for years. She was kind, dependable, always showing up for everyone else. But behind her strength was a soul silently unraveling. Life had stolen her joy, one disappointment at a time. She prayed, but more out of habit than belief. She served, but more out of duty than love. Then one morning, something changed. She stopped everything and sat in silence. She whispered, the most honest words she had spoken in years. I miss you. That one phrase cracked the wall around her heart. It was the beginning of her return, not to religion, but to relationship. From that place of raw honesty, a new journey began, not overnight. Not without struggle, but with purpose, peace, and a quiet strength that began to grow again. You see, we all reach moments where something inside us whispers, this can't be all there is. We feel the hunger for deeper connection, for clarity, for meaning. And that hunger is not a weakness, it is a sacred invitation. An invitation to return, to realign, to remember what your soul was always made for, not performance. Not perfection. But presence. The presence of the one who has waited patiently through your seasons of silence, your detours, your distractions. This morning, I want to invite you into something more than just another prayer. I want to lead you into a conversation, not one filled with religious phrases or forced emotions, but a real conversation between you and the one who shaped your heart. He knows every part of your story. He is not intimidated by your doubts, your failures, or your pain. In fact, it is those very things he wants to walk through with you. You do not need to have it all together. You do not need the perfect words. You just need to be willing to show up and open your heart. Faith is not about pretending everything is fine. Faith is what allows you to walk through what is not fine with peace. Prayer is not about sounding holy. It is about being honest. It is about remembering you are not alone in this world, that there is a power greater than fear, greater than grief, greater than the noise around you. That power is not distant. It is near, and it listens. It responds. It restores. So wherever you are right now, sitting at your kitchen table, lying in bed, or driving in silence, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and be fully present. Let this be the moment where everything begins to shift, not because circumstances suddenly change, but because your posture does. because your spirit's back toward the source. This journey we are about to take together is not a formula. It is not a checklist. It is a rhythm of surrender, a realignment of the heart, and it begins now. Let every word that follows be more than sound. Let it be a doorway into peace, into strength, into purpose, into the one who has been waiting for you to simply say, "I am here." Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you in the quiet of this morning, with no strength to pretend and no desire to hide. I do not come to impress you with polished words or practiced faith. I come because my heart is tired and my spirit feels scattered. I wake up carrying thoughts I could not silence through the night, worries that followed me into sleep and rose with me again at dawn. I feel the weight of choices I made without you, the pressure of paths I tried to walk alone, and the emptiness that grows when I place everything else before your presence. Today I admit what I have avoided saying. I need you. Father, there are moments when my soul feels dry, like land that has not known rain for a long time. I move through life doing what must be done, speaking when spoken to, smiling when expected. Yet inside I feel disconnected. I confess that I allowed fear to lead me. I let urgency replace wisdom and control replace trust. I placed my plans above your guidance and my understanding above your truth. I see now how that left me restless and uncertain. I am not angry at you. I am aware that I drifted, that I slowly shifted you from the center of my heart to the edge of my attention. This morning I stop running from that truth. I stop covering my weakness with activity. I acknowledge the silence inside me, and I bring it to you. I do not want another day shaped by anxiety or driven by pressure. I do not want to keep waking up with the same heaviness and calling it normal. I long for alignment. I long for peace that does not depend on circumstances. I long to remember what it feels like to be guided instead of pushed, carried instead of strained. Father, I remember that you were never distant. Even when I felt lost, you remained near. Even when I ignored your voice, you did not withdraw your love. You watched patiently as I tried to hold everything together with my own hands. You saw the moments when I felt strong and the moments when I quietly broke. Today I turn my heart back toward you. I choose honesty over appearance. I choose surrender over resistance. I lay before you the confusion I feel about my direction. I bring you the questions that keep circling in my mind. I bring you the disappointment I carry from unmet expectations and delayed answers. I bring you the fear of failing again and the fear of hoping again. I place it all before you without explanation or defense. I trust that you already understand what I cannot fully express. Father, I ask you to meet me here, not where I pretend to be, but where I truly am. Step into the quiet places of my heart that I have avoided. Touch the emptiness I tried to ignore. Restore what has been slowly drained by worry and self-reliance. Let this morning mark a turning point, not because everything changes instantly, but because my heart turns back to you completely. I choose to begin again by placing you first, not later in the day, not after my plans are formed, not after my strength is spent. I invite you into the beginning of this moment. Be the first voice I listen for, and the first truth I trust. I release the need to control what comes next. I release the burden of having to know the outcome. I simply open my heart and remain here with you, ready to continue this journey step by step in your presence. Father, I continue in this stillness where my heart began to soften, and now something deeper is rising from within. What I feel is not just quiet reflection. It is ache. It is need. It is the cry I have kept locked inside for too long. I can no longer carry the weight of pretending. I can no longer say I am fine when I am not. The peace I long for cannot grow in places where I keep hiding the pain. And so I bring you the cry, not the quiet, composed version of it, but the one that trembles when spoken aloud. The one that begins with a whisper and ends in surrender. Lord, I have tried so hard to stay strong. I have held myself together for the sake of others, for appearances. For the illusion of control. But in doing so, I have slowly unraveled inside. I wake up exhausted, not just in body but in soul. I smile through meetings, through meals, through moments, all while silently pleading for something to hold on to. I want to be brave, but I feel small. I want to be faithful, but my doubt is louder than I expected. I want to trust you, but it feels like everything around me keeps shaking, and I do not know where solid ground begins anymore. I cry out to you now, not for perfection, not for escape, but simply for presence. I do not need every answer. I do not ask you to erase the pain. I just need to know I am not alone in it. Meet me in this moment, Father, not with explanations, but with your embrace. Wrap around my fear like a shelter. Hold me steady while the storm inside me settles. I do not ask you to make me stronger in my own strength. I ask you to be strong for me while I fall apart. There are things I have buried that still hurt. Words I never said. Regrets I cannot forget. People I miss and wounds that still throb, even though the world says I should be over them by now. Father, I give them all to you, not in a way that is polished or proud, but in pieces. I bring you what is left of what once felt whole. I lay down the burden of pretending I have healed when I am still bleeding beneath the surface. God, hear the cry beneath the cry, the one I have not spoken, even to myself, the fear that maybe I am too far gone, the question of whether you still hear me. After all this time, the shame of knowing I have walked away more than once, and yet, something in me still turns toward you. Something in me still believes you have not turned away. That small flame is still burning. Let it be enough for you to see me. I am not asking for a miracle I can touch. I am asking for the miracle of being seen, of being known and not rejected, of being loved without needing to earn it. Let that truth find me again. Let it be louder than the lies I have believed. Whisper to my weary soul that I am not forgotten, that this darkness is not forever, that you are still here even when I can't feel the warmth. You are the one who sees through closed doors and behind fake smiles. You are the one who understands the difference between being busy and being whole. You know when I speak in faith and when I speak out of fear dressed as faith. You know how long I have tried to fix what only you can heal. And so I bring you this broken cry, not to be pitied, not to be punished, but to be held. Let this be the cry that breaks the silence between us. Let this be the moment where walls begin to fall, not because I forced them down, but because I no longer want to live behind them. I do not want to keep building walls when what I need is a door. I need you to enter in, Father, not after I clean it all up, not after I make sense of it, Now, just as it is, just as I am, I will not run from you anymore. I will not perform for you. I will not mask my pain in spiritual phrases that lack honesty. I will speak to you from the core of my heart, even if the words are unsteady, even if they come with tears, even if they do not always make sense. Because you are not waiting for perfection, you are waiting for permission, and this is me giving it. Father, touch what I have hidden. Touch what still stings when I think no one notices. Touch the fear that keeps whispering that I will always feel this way. I bring you the loneliness that I disguised with laughter. I bring you the failure I buried beneath distractions. I bring you the guilt that never quite loosens its grip. And I bring you the longing, the deep ache for closeness I cannot find anywhere else. Let my cry rise to you like morning light breaking through clouds. Let it carry not only desperation, but the first flicker of trust. Let it say, without needing to say it perfectly, that I want you back in the place I pushed you out of. That I want you to be more than a part of my life. I want you to be the one who defines it, holds it, restores it. And so I stay here, not rushing past this moment. I will not numb myself again with distractions. I will not drown out my heart with noise. I will sit in this cry until it leads me into the calm I have been chasing. I will stay in this place of openness until I no longer fear being seen. I will remain in the tension until peace begins to unfold. You are not threatened by my weakness. You are drawn to it. You are not distant from this breaking. You are the God who meets me in it. And that is why I cry not in despair, but in the hope that something holy happens when I finally stop holding it all in. Father, even as the cry still echoes within me, something quieter begins to stir beneath it. It is not loud, not sudden. It feels more like a breath, after holding it for too long. The weight is not gone, but I feel it shift slightly. And in that shift, I sense you drawing near not because I earned it, not because I said the right things, but because you were always waiting. You were never far, only silent.
Dude!
But even in your silence, you remained present. I see now, God, that you did not abandon me in my drifting. You simply waited until I turned. I see how many mornings I began without you, not out of rebellion, but routine. I let the pace of life become louder than the pull of your presence. I placed urgency above intimacy and ambition above abiding. And yet, here you are unchanged, unshaken, unmoved by my delays, still offering closeness, still offering calm, still offering yourself. As I sit here in the quiet, after the storm of my soul's confession, I begin to remember, not the pain, not the failure. I begin to remember you. I remember the times you spoke clearly through peace, when everything else around me was chaos. I remember how you whispered to me in ways I did not understand back then, but now recognize as love. I remember how you met me in the dark and did not demand light from me before entering. I remember that you are not a God of distance, but of presence. Lord, let this memory not be just recollection. Let it be restoration. Let it restore the parts of me that forgot how to lean on you, the places that grew rigid, trying to survive without you. Let it remind me that prayer is not a performance but a return to the one who always listens, a return to the only place my soul truly feels at home. Today I invite you back to the center, not just in words but in posture. I want you to take up space again in my heart, not as a visitor, but as the one who dwells there. I open the door not just to a conversation, but to communion. I do not want to glance in your direction when things fall apart. I want to walk with you when nothing is happening, when no crisis calls me to my knees, when the silence feels ordinary and my life feels plain. I want you in the middle of all of it, not just the extremes. I confess that I have sought comfort from temporary things. I ran to distraction when discomfort came. I tried to find answers in places that only echoed my confusion. I asked the world to give me peace, forgetting it cannot offer what it does not possess. But you, God, have always been the source, the quiet voice beneath the noise, the steady hand beneath the chaos, the presence that fills what performance cannot. So here I am again, not just empty but willing to rebuild the altar of connection, willing to return to the small beginnings, willing to give you not just the broken parts, but the ordinary ones too. I give you my mornings before the rush. I give you my thoughts before the world invades them. I give you the spaces I once filled with worry and now long to fill with worship. Speak, Lord, not with volume, but with clarity. I am listening now not for answers, but for you. Teach me to recognize your voice again. Teach me to slow down until my spirit hears what my mind often drowns out. Teach me that the first step of any day should not be into my task list, but into your presence. Teach me that the first word I speak should not be to the world, but to you. I want to live this day from the inside out. Let my inner world find order before I step into the outer one. Let my decisions be shaped by stillness, not urgency.
Dude,
Let my peace be rooted in connection, not control. Let my joy be born of nearness, not news. I want to see the world through eyes that have first looked at you. I invite you into every moment before it arrives, into every conversation before it begins, into every thought before it takes shape. I want you to be more than a presence I feel when I am weak. I want you to be the guide when I feel strong. I want to consult you before I commit, to lean on you before I lead, to listen to you before I speak. Rebuild in me a spirit that trusts first, not last. Restore in me a heart that remains soft in a world that hardens. Remind me that closeness to you is not about performance, but pursuit. That the goal is not to impress you, but to include you. And so I start small with this breath, this moment, this prayer. Let this be enough. I surrender the habit of chasing clarity before I surrender control. I choose to trust before I see, to pause before I plan, to let your presence be the first atmosphere I breathe in and the last one I return to. Let every new beginning start not with striving, but with surrender. Lord, teach me again how to stay, not just to visit you when I need rescue, but to remain with you when the sun is rising and nothing feels urgent. Teach me to build my rhythm around your voice, not just squeeze you into the rhythm I have built. Let this be the return to a life that does not revolve around noise, but around nearness. And in this return, let love rise again. Let joy awaken. Let trust take root. Not because everything around me has changed, but because I have. Because I am no longer walking away. Because I am no longer pretending I do not need you. Because the first light of reconnection has broken through, and I will not ignore it. This is where we begin again, not from scratch, but from surrender, not to earn your favor, but but to walk in it, not because I have finally figured it all out, but because I finally stopped trying to. I return not to answers, but to presence, not to achievement, but to alignment. This time, I will not rush past it. I will stay. Lord, now that I have chosen to stay, now that I have let down my guard and opened the door again, I realize how loud everything has become around me and within me. Even in this quiet hour, I feel the echoes of the world pressing in thoughts, racing before I can catch them. Responsibilities lining up like demands. Expectations clinging to me before I have even stood up from this prayer. I want to remain in your presence, but I am so easily pulled. The noise has become my normal, and I am just now learning how deeply it has buried your whisper. Father, I do not want to live in reaction anymore. I do not want my peace to depend on the volume of the world. I long for stillness, not just the absence of sound, but the quiet strength that comes from being grounded in you. Help me clear the noise that clutters my soul. Strip away the layers of distraction I have allowed to pile up. Silence the voices of fear, of comparison, of urgency, of shame. They speak too often and too fast, drowning out the sound of your nearness. I know you do not compete for attention. You speak in steady tones, not shouting matches. And I confess, I have been listening to everything else first. I have trained myself to respond to notifications more quickly than to your spirit. I have let scrolling become comfort, busyness become identity, and noise become a shield against discomfort. But none of those things have ever healed me. They have only kept me numb. So now, God, I choose a different rhythm, not louder, not faster, but truer. Let my life slow down enough to hear what matters. Let my heart become tuned to the quiet presence of you again. Like a musician returns to their instrument, let me return to the sound of you. Even if it takes time, even if it means hearing things I have avoided, I trust that your whisper will not harm me. It will heal me. Lord, give me ears that are not just biologically functioning, but spiritually sensitive. Give me discernment to know when it is your voice and not my anxiety masquerading as urgency. When I feel pressure to move quickly, remind me that you are not in the rush. You are in the clarity. You are not behind the panic. You are behind peace. I want to live from that place, where stillness becomes the gate through which wisdom walks. Help me to no longer fear silence. Let it become my sanctuary instead of my discomfort. Teach me to wait without filling the void with noise. Let the absence of answers become space for presence. Let the lack of explanation become an invitation to listen. I do not need noise to feel alive. I need truth. I need you. And you rarely arrive with chaos. You often come like wind moving through the leaves, soft, sure, undeniable. Father, teach me how to center my days around your whisper. Let me build rhythms that make room for you. Let morning light remind me to pause. Let evening stillness teach me to reflect. Let moments in between not be wasted in thoughtless repetition, but become holy with awareness. I do not want to just believe in you. I want to walk with you. I want to recognize when you are speaking, not just when I am desperate, but even in the calm. I surrender the addiction to noise. I surrender the impulse to fill every moment. I surrender the belief that productivity proves my worth. I surrender the lie that rest is weakness. I want to sit beside you, not just stand for you. I want to be still enough to sense the direction you are giving, even if it comes as a whisper I might otherwise miss. Speak to me in ways that break through what I have built around my heart. Speak in the pauses between my questions. Speak in the glances of grace throughout my day. Let your whisper become more familiar than the voices that have shaped my insecurity. Let it speak louder than my inner critic, deeper than my past regrets, clearer than my future fears. Let it rise within me like light-dissolving fog. God, I want to develop the habit of holy listening, not just when I read scripture, not just when I pray, but even in moments of washing dishes, driving in traffic, folding laundry, sitting in meetings. Let my inner ear remain open, even when my hands are busy. Let me learn to live responsive, not reactive. Let me hear you before I respond to the world. And when I do hear you, help me not to second guess it. Help me not to explain it away with doubt or logic. Let me trust that when you whisper, it is not my imagination. It is my invitation, an invitation to move differently, to act with purpose, to speak with kindness, to walk in step with your spirit. Let every word from you shape my next step, even when that word is weight. I know you are not absent from the noise, but I also know you do not sound like it. So when the world gets loud again, help me return here, to this stillness, to this sacred space where I am not trying to prove anything, where I am not performing or striving, where I am just listening, just receiving. Just remembering that you are here and you are speaking. Let your whisper become my anchor. Let it be the voice that steadies me when others push or pull. Let it remind me of who I am when the world tries to redefine me. Let it bring me back to truth when lies feel convincing. Let it be the voice I follow above all else, especially my own. Let it be the sound that carries me through this day with peace that does not rise and fall with circumstance. Lord, speak not to impress, but to impress upon my heart the way forward. I will slow down to hear it. I will quiet myself to catch it. I will clear the space inside me so that nothing crowds it out. I welcome your whisper again, not because it is all I can get, but because it is the only thing I truly need. The world has its noise. I choose your voice. The world has its pace. I choose your presence. The world demands performance. I choose connection. And as I listen, let the clutter fall away. Let the confusion lose its grip. Let the striving ease its hold. Let my soul exhale and return to a state where the Spirit leads, not pressure. Let the whisper become a path beneath my feet, a wind at my back, a light within my chest. Let me walk today not guided by reaction, but by response to you, one whisper at a time. Father, as I remain attentive to your whisper, I begin to understand that listening alone is not enough if my life does not respond in order. What you speak must shape what I choose. What I hear must realign what I place first. I see now that so much of my unrest has come not from lack of effort, but from misplaced priority. I asked you to bless paths you were never meant to lead. I invited you into plans that were already decided. And still, you waited patiently for me to hand you the beginning, not the leftovers. Lord, today I acknowledge that order is spiritual. What I put first quietly governs everything that follows. When I placed urgency first, I lived rushed. When I placed approval first, I lived anxious. When I placed comfort first, I grew stagnant. None of those things satisfied me. None of them gave me rest. But now, standing in this awareness, I choose differently. I choose you as my first thought, my first trust, my first direction. I no longer want you added to my life. I want my life arranged around you. God, I confess that I often tried to control outcomes while neglecting alignment. I focused on results while ignoring relationship. I wanted clarity without surrender and peace without obedience. Yet the more I chased stability on my own terms, the more unstable I felt. Today I release that pattern. I release the habit of deciding first and praying later. I release the fear that if I give you control, I will lose myself. I see now that placing you first does not diminish me. It anchors me. I invite you to take the lead in every area I have tried to manage alone. Go before my decisions before they form. Sit at the center of my priorities before my schedule fills. Stand at the doorway of my thoughts before they spiral. I want my yes to you to come before my yes to anything else. Teach me what it means to honor you, not just with words, but with order. Let my life reflect my faith in quiet consistency, not dramatic declarations. Father, I choose to begin my days with you before I begin my tasks. I choose to consult you before I commit. I choose to pause before I pursue. I choose obedience over impulse and trust over control. I am learning that when you are first, I do not have to force direction. It finds me. I do not have to chase peace. It settles in me. I do not have to manipulate outcomes. They unfold in your timing. Help me recognize when I am tempted to place other things above you. When worry demands my attention, remind me who sustains me. When ambition pushes me forward, remind me who directs me. When fear whispers urgency, remind me who holds the future. I do not want you to be one voice among many. I want you to be the reference point by which every other voice is measured. Lord, shape my priorities in ways that may feel unfamiliar, but are deeply right. Rearrange what needs to be rearranged. Remove what no longer belongs at the center. Restore what was displaced by distraction. I trust you to order my life with wisdom. I cannot produce on my own, even if it means slowing down where I wanted speed, or waiting where I wanted movement. I believe that your order brings peace I have never known. I give you my plans, not as suggestions, but as offerings. I give you my goals, not as demands, but as seeds. I give you my ambitions, not to be erased, but to be refined. Align them with your will so that what I build does not collapse under pressure. Let what grows in my life be rooted in obedience, not striving.
Dude.
Let fruit come from faithfulness, not exhaustion. Father, I no longer want to live divided. 1 foot in trust, 1 foot in fear, 1 moment surrendered, the next moment controlling. I want my heart to be whole, centered, steady. I want my decisions to flow from alignment, not reaction. Called, teach me how to live from the inside out, where you lead first and everything else follows naturally. I acknowledge that putting you first is not a single moment, but a daily posture. It is choosing again and again to return you to the center when distractions pull me away. It is remembering that I am not my own guide. I am not the source of my strength. I am not the author of my future. You are, and trusting you with that truth does not weaken me. It frees me. So today, before I step into conversations, before I answer messages, before I make choices that shape the hours ahead, I pause here. I place you first deliberately, willingly, and without reservation. Let this decision ripple through everything I do. Let it reorder my time,
My energy, my focus.
my expectations.
Play.
Let it bring clarity where confusion once lived. Let it bring calm where pressure once ruled. I do not need to know every step ahead. I only need to know who leads. And today, Father, I choose you, not as an addition, not as an option, but as the foundation. From this place of alignment, I move forward differently, with lighter hands, with a quieter heart, with confidence that what follows will find its rightful place, because you are now where you have always belonged. Lord, in the stillness created by putting you first, I begin to see that alignment is not just about what I believe, but how I respond. It is not enough to declare trust if my actions do not reflect surrender. I realize now that obedience is not just a concept I admire. It is the next necessary step in walking with you, even when the path ahead is unclear, even when my heart hesitates. Obedience is what unlocks what faith begins. Father, I confess how often I have placed outcome above obedience. I wanted to know where it would lead before I said yes. I wanted assurance before action, clarity before commitment. But that is not trust. That is control disguised as faith. I wanted results that made sense to me, timelines I could predict, outcomes I could measure. When they did not come the way I hoped, I questioned if I had heard you at all. But I see now, you are not calling me to calculate. You are calling me to follow. Not because the steps are safe or easy, but because you are the one leading them. And wherever you lead, even when it feels uncertain, it is still the right direction. Obedience is not about understanding. It is about surrender. It is about stepping into the unknown. 'Cause I know the one who knows the end from the beginning. God, help me to obey before I see the results. Help me to move, not because I have mapped it all out, but because you spoke. Help me to trust your voice more than my logic. Teach me to walk, even when the ground beneath me feels unfamiliar. I do not want to wait for the outcome to convince me. You were right. I want to move because I know you are good. Lord, I remember the story of Peter casting his net again, after a night of failure. He had done everything right by human understanding, and still, nothing. But one word from you changed the outcome. One act of obedience opened the floodgates of provision. Not because Peter finally figured it out, but because he simply obeyed. I want to live that way. I want my life to be marked by yes, even when it is not convenient, even when it goes against experience, even when nothing makes sense. Obedience is hard because it does not come with guarantees. It rarely makes me look wise to others. It often feels lonely, quiet, and unseen. But I am beginning to understand that obedience is its own reward. It creates space for peace to settle, for fear to lose its grip, for grace to unfold in places I would have overlooked. I want that kind of life, not loud and predictable, but faithful and free. Father, break down in me the need to calculate the return on every act of trust. Remove from me the mindset that measures success by immediate result. Show me that success in your kingdom looks like surrender, not strategy.
Ooh,
Show me that victory often begins in quiet yeses, in small unseen acts of faith that carry eternal weight. Remind me that your plans are not delayed just because I can't trace their progress. There are things you have asked me to do that I have put off because they did not make sense. People I have avoided reaching out to because I feared rejection. Conversations I have postponed because they seemed too hard. Risks I did not take because I could not guarantee the outcome. But if you are in the instruction, then the outcome is not my responsibility. My part is to say yes, to take the step, to release the fear, to move with you. Teach me to obey quickly, not reluctantly. Let my obedience come from love, not obligation. Let it rise from trust, not guilt. Let it be the overflow of a heart that knows it is safe with you. I no longer want to delay what you are asking, because I am waiting for the perfect conditions. There is no perfect condition. There is only now. And if you are calling, then now is holy. God, I surrender the pressure to know everything. I surrender the fear of what others will think. I surrender the illusion that I am in control. I place in your hands the dreams I have held too tightly, the relationships I have tried to fix on my own, the doors I have tried to force open, the ones I have been too afraid to knock on. I release them. I release the need to see fruit right away. I release the demand to be validated by results. I just want to be found faithful. Let my obedience become the language of my trust. Let it speak louder than my fears. Let it be my worship when words feel empty. Let it be the offering I bring, even when no one else sees. Let it be the anchor that steadies me when I am tempted to chase approval or chase outcomes. Let it be my path to peace, not because the road is smooth, but because it is shared with you. Lord, I want to live in response to you, not to pressure, not to expectation, not to fear, just you. Help me build a life that listens and obeys, even when I feel unqualified, even when the resources look small, even when the crowd walks a different way. Let my yes stand firm. Let my footsteps align with the direction of your spirit, not the trends of this world. There is so much I do not know, so many unanswered questions. But this I know, you are good, you are faithful, you are with me, and that is enough. I will walk forward with what you have given me, even if it is just the next step. I will trust that obedience today will carry into blessing tomorrow, even if that blessing is simply knowing I walked with you. So I come with open hands, open heart, and open ears. No more waiting for everything to feel certain. No more bargaining with what ifs. Just a quiet, steady yes. Because I know that obedience, no matter how small, never goes unnoticed by you. It never returns empty. It always draws me closer. It always reshapes me from the inside out. Here I am. Lead, and I will follow. Speak, and I will respond. Call, and I will move. Not for applause, not for outcome, but for love, because you are worth it. Every time, every step, always. Father, in choosing obedience over certainty, I begin to feel the tremors beneath the surface of my soul. Not fear this time, but a quiet invitation, an opening that draws me deeper. You have asked for my trust,
My surrender.
my alignment. And now, in this space you have carved open through honesty and stillness. You are asking for something even more sacred, my wounds. Not just the ones I admit aloud, but the ones I have hidden so well. I have convinced myself they no longer matter. Lord, I confess I have carried pain I never knew how to process. I have learned to walk with it, to build around it, to function in spite of it. I have grown used to the weight of unhealed places. They became part of my rhythm, part of my personality, even part of my story. But you did not create me to simply manage pain. You came to restore what was broken, to redeem what was lost, to heal what still aches beneath the surface. So I bring you now what I have never fully laid down, the sorrow I dismissed as weakness, the anger I masked with humor, the shame I buried beneath accomplishments, the disappointments I tried to outrun. I bring you the ache of unanswered questions, the sting of rejection I never voiced, the loneliness I numbed with busyness. I bring you the silence I endured when I needed to be held, the words I needed to hear but never did, the prayers I prayed that seemed to go unanswered. God, I invite you into these hidden places, not to observe them, but to touch them, not to rush past them, but to stay long enough to bring change. You are not uncomfortable with my brokenness. You are not surprised by what still bleeds. You are not overwhelmed by the things I try to ignore. You come close, even here, especially here. Called. And so I stop pretending. I stop editing my pain to make it more acceptable. I stop minimizing what you already see in full. You know the memories that still hold power. You know the words that shaped how I see myself. You know the failures that made me doubt my worth. You know the moments I have replayed in shame, the ones I have never spoken aloud, the ones I tried to erase. But you do not come to shame me. You come to set me free. You come not to expose me, but to heal me. Not to fix me quickly, but to walk me gently into wholeness. Father, I do not ask for numbness. I ask for healing. I do not ask to forget. I ask to remember with peace. I do not ask to escape. I ask for strength to walk through it with you beside me. Let your love be the salve to old wounds. Let your presence fill the hollow places that pain left behind. Let your truth untangle the lies I believed for too long. Lies that said I was not enough, that I was too much, that I was unseen, unworthy, unlovable. Let them break under the weight of your voice. Tell me again who I am, not who the world told me to be, not who pain made me become, but who you saw when you formed me. Speak identity over the places that shame distorted. Speak dignity where self-hatred once ruled. Speak kindness where criticism took root. Pull up every bitter root and replace it with compassion. Tear down the walls built in fear and rebuild them with trust. Show me that it is safe to be soft again, to be vulnerable, to be real. Lord, I ask you to restore joy where sorrow silenced it, to awaken laughter where cynicism crept in, to renew tenderness where hardness became protection. I want to feel again, but this time without fear. I want to hope again, but this time without conditions. I want to open again, not because I trust the world, but because I trust you with what is inside me. I invite you into my memories, not to erase them, but to redeem them, to walk me through each one and show me where you were, to show me that even in my darkest moments, I was never alone, that even when I was hurting, you were holding me, that even when I was breaking, you were already preparing restoration. Let every tear become seed for something new. Let every scar become evidence that I survived, that you sustained me, that healing was always possible. God, I do not want to keep living guarded. I want to live open, even if it means grieving what I never allowed myself to grieve. Even if it means forgiving what I said I had, but never truly did. Even if it means admitting how deeply I was hurt. I want healing more than I want comfort. I want wholeness more than I want control. I want transformation more than I want familiarity. So I give you permission to do the deep work, to go beneath behavior and reach belief, to not only address what I do, but why I do it, to touch the patterns rooted in pain and rewrite them in love. I want to stop reacting out of old wounds and start responding from a place of restoration. I want my words to come from peace, not protection. I want my presence to bring healing, not because I have all the answers, but because I carry the evidence of your mercy. Lord, I ask for healing in my body, where stress has settled, in my mind where anxious thoughts have lived, in my emotions where exhaustion has lingered, in my relationships where misunderstanding created distance, in my spirit where discouragement tried to build a home. Let your healing presence reach every corner, even the places I thought were beyond repair. Show me how to care for my heart in ways that honor you, not by guarding it out of fear, but by anchoring it in truth, not by hardening it for survival, but by softening it in trust. Let my healing be steady, not rushed. Let it be deep, not shallow. Let it be whole, not partial. I do not want surface-level relief. I want transformation, the kind that changes how I love, how I live, how I see, and how I speak. I thank you, Father, that I do not have to heal myself, that I am not responsible for fixing what only you can restore, that I do not have to hide while you do the work, that I can be seen and still be safe, known and still be held, broken and still be loved, that nothing I bring is too much for you, that every part of me is welcome here. So I remain, not rushing through the process, not numbing the ache, but breathing through it, with you, trusting that this is holy ground, that healing is happening, even now, even slowly,
Cuckold.
even gently,
Dude.
even deeply.
Cuckold.
And I will stay until it reaches every part of me. Father, now that the healing has begun to move through the hidden places of my heart, I feel something shift. It is not the absence of uncertainty, but a quiet courage forming within it. The wounds that once made me afraid to trust again are slowly becoming reminders that I am not walking alone. The unknown is still there. The road ahead is still unclear. But something is different now because I am learning that peace is not found in knowing what comes next, but in knowing you are already there. Lord, I used to believe peace would arrive once everything was figured out, when the answers came, when the waiting ended, when the outcome matched my hope. But you are showing me that peace is not a destination. It is a companion. It is the presence of trust in the middle of tension. It is the breath I take when fear presses in. It is the stillness that speaks louder than chaos. I used to think I needed a plan. What I need is a person, and that person is you. God, teach me to walk forward, even when the road curves beyond my vision. I do not want to be paralyzed by what I can't predict. I do not want to hesitate every time things feel unfamiliar. I want to move not because I understand, but because I believe. Let peace be the evidence that I am staying close to you, not the absence of discomfort. Let peace be what carries me, not certainty.
Dude.
Not ease, not guarantees, just you. There are days when questions still rise, when the future stretches out like a mist I can't see through. But even here, in the middle of what I do not know, I hear the echo of your voice reminding me that I am not called to have all the answers. I am called to follow. I am called to trust that the one who split seas and stilled storms is the same one who walks beside me now. Father, help me not to interpret delay as distance. Help me not to assume silence means absence. Help me to rest in the truth that you are never caught off guard, never uncertain, never late. You hold time in your hands. You hold my story in your hands. And even when I cannot trace your hand, I can trust your heart. You do not lead me to confusion. You do not bring me this far to abandon me. You are with me in every step, every shadow, every silence. I surrender the parts of me that crave control, the part that still wants to map out every possibility, that still reaches for the illusion of safety through planning. I release the weight of needing to know. I lay down the pressure to perform. I choose to breathe deeply, to unclench my hands, and to walk freely into what I cannot see, knowing that you are already there, preparing the ground beneath my feet. God, when fear rises and whispers questions I can't answer, what if this goes wrong? What if I am not enough? What if I fail again? Remind me that my security is not in perfect outcomes, but in your unchanging nature. You are my guide, not just when the path is straight, but especially when it winds. You are my light, not just in the day, but even in the night. You are my anchor, not just when I feel steady, but when I feel tossed by doubt. I ask you to steady my heart in the moments when uncertainty feels louder than truth. Anchor me in what I do know: your goodness, your faithfulness, your nearness. Let that be the place I return to every time I feel myself spinning. When the unknown feels intimidating, let me remember that you are not asking me to leap in blind hope, but to step forward holding your hand. You go before me. You walk beside me. You hold me when I feel like I am slipping. Let this journey not be about reaching the next destination, but about learning to walk in step with you. Let each day be a practice of peace, not because circumstances have become easy, but because you are leading. Show me how to find stillness even in motion, how to carry calm even in transition. Let your peace become the rhythm beneath my pace, the echo beneath my thoughts, the covering over my decisions. Father, I ask for grace to navigate what I do not yet understand. Grace to be present without needing to control. Grace to trust when the road shifts suddenly. Grace to rest when nothing feels resolved. I do not need you to reveal the full map. I just need enough light for the next step, and I believe you will give it again and again and again. I believe you delight in walking with me, not just in getting me somewhere. I believe peace is found not in the arrival, but in the abiding. So here I am, choosing to walk forward with open hands and a soft heart. I choose faith over fear, even when fear makes more noise. I choose to keep showing up, even when it feels small. I choose to listen for your voice above the voices of doubt and distraction. I choose to let peace be my pace, not pressure. I choose to trust that you are writing a story I cannot yet see, but one that is good and purposeful and full of grace. God, let this peace go deeper than a feeling. Let it become a conviction. Let it be rooted in truth, not tied to circumstances. Let it remain steady when emotions rise and fall. Let it guide me when decisions feel hard. Let it hold me when I feel unsure. Let it remind me that I do not need to run ahead or shrink back. I only need to walk with you, at your pace, in your presence. Thank you for the gift of this peace, not the peace the world gives, but the kind that guards my heart, the kind that is born in trust, the kind that whispers I am safe even here, the kind that reminds me that even the unknown is not unknown to you. And so, I walk not because I know what is coming, but because I know you will be with me when it does. Not because I feel brave, but because I am no longer walking alone. And that, Lord, is enough. More than enough. Always. Father, as I continue walking in the peace you have placed within me, I begin to sense a deeper stirring, a quiet calling that rises from this place of trust. It is not loud or demanding. It does not push me forward with urgency. Instead, it draws me gently, reminding me that healing and peace were never meant to end with me alone. What you restore, you also release. What you heal, you desire to use. And now, having been steadied by your presence, I feel ready to ask what you would have me become. Lord, I no longer ask for purpose as a title or achievement. I ask for purpose as alignment. I want my life to reflect the work you are doing within me. I want my words to carry grace, my actions to carry compassion, my presence to carry light. I see now that purpose is not about being impressive, but about being available, not about being seen, but about being faithful. Teach me to live with open hands, willing to be shaped and poured out as you choose. God, I offer you every part of my story, even the chapters I once wished away, the failures that humbled me, the losses that reshaped me, the delays that slowed me down when I wanted to run ahead. I see now that none of it was wasted. You have been weaving meaning through every season, preparing me not just for something, but for someone, preparing my heart to recognize needs beyond my own, preparing my spirit to respond with empathy instead of judgment. Use me, Father, not from a place of striving, but from a place of overflow. Let what you have placed within me spill naturally into the lives around me. When I speak, let my words carry encouragement. When I listen, let my presence create safety. When I serve, let it be done quietly and sincerely. I do not want to perform for approval or give to feel important. I want to reflect you simply by being attentive to the people you place in my path. Lord, help me recognize the opportunities you send that do not look grand, the small moments that invite kindness, the ordinary conversations that open doors to healing, the quiet nudges to show patience, generosity, forgiveness. Let me not overlook these moments in search of something bigger. Teach me that obedience in the small builds impact beyond what I can see. That faithfulness in hidden places carries eternal weight. I surrender the desire to define my calling by comparison. I release the temptation to measure my life against someone else's assignment. I trust that you know exactly where I fit. You know the shape of my gifts, the depth of my compassion, the reach of my influence. I do not need to force my way into significance. I need only to remain connected to you, and significance will flow naturally from obedience. Father, shape my character before you expand my reach. Guard my heart from pride as you open doors. Keep me grounded as you invite me into responsibility. Let humility be my covering and love be my motivation. I want my life to point back to you, not to myself. If my efforts ever draw attention away from your goodness, gently redirect me. Keep my focus pure and my intentions clear. I ask you to refine my desires so they align with your will. Where my ambitions are rooted in fear or insecurity, uproot them. Where they are rooted in love and service, strengthen them. Called, let my dreams be shaped by compassion, not competition. Let my goals be influenced by purpose, not pressure. I want to build what lasts, not what impresses. God, teach me how to carry responsibility without carrying heaviness. Show me how to lead without control, to influence without force, to give without depletion. Remind me often that I am a vessel, not the source. That what flows through me must first come from you. When I feel empty, lead me back to your presence. When I feel strong, remind me where that strength was formed. Let my life become an answer to prayers I may never hear. Let my obedience bring comfort to hearts I may never fully know. Let my faith create space for hope where despair once lingered. I do not need recognition for this. I need obedience. I need courage. I need love that remains consistent even when unseen. Father, I am willing, not because I feel ready in my own strength, but because I trust the work you have already begun. I trust that you will continue shaping me as I walk with you. I trust that you will guide my steps into purpose that fits me, purpose that stretches me, purpose that blesses others, while keeping me dependent on you. So I place my life before you again, not as something to protect, but as something to offer. Use it as you see fit. Shape it with wisdom, direct it with grace. Let it become a quiet testimony of what happens when a heart chooses surrender, healing, peace, and trust. Let it be known not for what I achieved, but for how faithfully I walked with you. I stand here, steady and open, ready to move forward in whatever way you lead, not chasing significance, not demanding clarity, not rushing ahead, simply present.
Whoa.
Simply willing. Simply trusting that as I remain close to you, my life will naturally find its purpose, one faithful step at a time. Father, after this journey of stillness and surrender, healing and trust, I find myself in a different place than where I began, not because my circumstances have all changed, but because something within me has. My heart has grown quieter. My soul has been steadied. My pace has slowed, not in weakness, but in wisdom. I am no longer desperate to prove, to perform, to push forward. I am more aware now that a life of peace begins with a life centered in you. Lord, I used to treat mornings as something to rush through a checklist, a race, a blur of responsibility. I would wake up with my thoughts already scattered, my plans already formed, my burdens already speaking louder than truth. But you have shown me that mornings hold more than motion. They hold meaning, that what I do first does not just shape my day, it shapes my soul. And I want that first space to belong to you. God, let each day begin not with anxiety, but with awareness. Before the world demands anything from me, let me offer something to you. A breath, a thank you, a moment of stillness, a whispered invitation. Be here with me. Let that posture become the foundation I return to again and again. When the day gets loud, let me go back to that early moment of quiet trust. When stress builds, let me remember how it felt to simply sit with you in silence and know I was held. I do not want to carry peace like a feeling that fades. I want to carry it like a rhythm that guides. And I want that rhythm to begin before the sun fully rises. I want you to be the first thought, not the last resort. The first voice, not the background noise. The first presence I seek, not the one I circle back to when everything else has failed. I want my life to be built from the inside out, with you as the center, the source, the anchor. Father, I ask you to meet me every morning, not because I deserve it, but because you delight in being near. Help me build habits that make space for you, not out of guilt, but out of longing, not for appearance, but for alignment. Let these quiet moments with you shape the way I love people, the way I handle pressure, the way I speak, the way I think. Let time with you be the soil where everything else grows. Some mornings, I may not feel strong. Some mornings, I may not have words. But even then, let me show up. Let me bring you my silence, my sighs, my scattered thoughts. Let me bring you my true self without filters or performance. Because I know that you never turn away from honesty. You never ask for perfection, only presence. And that is something I can give, even on the hardest days. Let each morning be a small beginning, a sacred reset, a gentle reminder that your mercy is new again. I do not have to earn it. I just have to receive it. I do not have to conquer the day before it begins. I just have to stay close to you in it. I do not have to impress the world. I just have to follow you one small step at a time. God, teach me to carry this posture into the day ahead. Let me listen before I speak. Let me pause before I react. Let me notice the people around me, their pain, their beauty, their need for kindness. Let me move slower when the world tries to rush me. Let me choose compassion over criticism. Let me respond with gentleness when I am tempted toward frustration. And when I feel overwhelmed again, as I inevitably will, help me return not just to the idea of you, but to the nearness of you. Let prayer not be an escape, but a return to center. Let worship not be a performance, but a quiet turning of the heart. Let obedience not feel like burden, but like alignment. Let joy not be an outcome, but a companion. Father, I thank you for what you have done in this sacred space, for the way you have softened what had grown hard, quieted what had grown loud, healed what had grown numb. You did not rush the process. You met me in it. You did not demand perfection. You invited presence. And now, as I prepare to carry this into the world, I know I do not walk alone. I walk with peace. I walk with purpose. I walk with you. To the one listening now, thank you for walking this path to the end, not because it ends here, but because something new is just beginning. If these words have met you in a season of pain, I hope they have reminded you that you are not alone. If they have found you in silence, I pray they have helped you hear your own voice again. And if they have stirred something within you, even quietly, I encourage you to stay with it. Keep coming back to this place of presence. It is here that transformation begins. Please feel free to share your thoughts, your prayers, or what touched your heart the most in the comments below. You are part of something beautiful when you give voice to your journey. Someone else may need to hear exactly what you have to say. If this time together has brought you closer to peace, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so we can continue walking together through each new morning. Don't forget to share this prayer with someone who might need it today. Let us build a rhythm of faith, one sunrise at a time. And now, as the first light spills gently through the window, I pause not to finish, but to begin again, with breath, with stillness, with you, like the wind brushing softly through the trees, like water moving without force, like morning light touching the earth. I begin again, quietly centered in peace.